Thanks, Trevor, for having me here, esteemed panel. Today, I'm going to talk about sustainable asset management. Since morning, we have been talking about decarbonization, long-term goals, short-term goals, efficiency, IT, everything. Now, in my presentation, I'm trying to put everything together and trying to demonstrate how shipping companies are taking this initiative forward. So, I have 4 parts to my presentation. I guess I have 39 slides? No, only 10. So, I'll talk about what sustainable asset management is. Then I'll dive into what are the drivers for it. And we'll talk about what are the technology-driven solutions and what challenges the industry is facing and what are the possible solutions. So, traditional asset management revolved around profitability or economics and long-term asset management or long-term asset efficiency. Now, after these decarbonization goals, what has happened that carbon neutrality and environmental goals have come into the picture. And therefore, it has become very important for companies to stick to these goals and make their asset management in such a way that these goals are addressed and they move towards net carbon zero by 2050. Now, why sustainability is important or why sustainable asset management is required in shipping? Look at these statistics. Now, these statistics are sufficient to conclude that we need to do something about it. I'm not going into the details, you have the numbers on the screen. But important thing is that we are accountable as an industry for a substantial chunk of emissions, greenhouse gases, and carbon dioxide emissions. And therefore, we need some solutions. We need some steps to correct that. And my previous speaker already mentioned that we don't need to go to zero emissions. We just need to be net zero. And that is where every single effort, every small drop of effort counts. And now let's talk what is driving these sustainable asset management. There are 3 pillars of driving this sustainable asset management. The first is obviously regulations. The big brothers who are dictating terms from above, do this, do that to meet your targets. And and obviously not telling you the pathway, how to follow it. But and then advancement in technology. Technology is not something that is forced upon you. If it's productive, people embrace it. Like we moved from pager to mobile phones to smartphones, that's how it happens. And shipping or any other industry is no different. Technology is embraced. And stakeholders engagement. Now, shipping, as a small part of the supply chain, is not only responsible for its own emissions, it is also responsible for the emission of the end product. The guy who is finally shipping that product, your emissions also add up to his emission quota. So they are also putting pressure. Banks are putting their terms and conditions for green shipping. So it's a push from everyone that we need to decarbonize, and that is what is forcing in the industry, the ship owners, to go for more structured approach in managing their assets. Let's talk about what are different options available for shipping. A panelist from Stormgeo talked about voyage optimization, and this is achieved by installing IoTs. Now, IoTs is basically a fancy name for any device that can connect through internet and transact information. So IoT collects a lot of data that is stored in big data servers, processors, and those processors, through use of artificial intelligence, will give you insights that probably was not possible a few years ago, because the sheer volume of data. And there was this proverb which said that the more you know about data, the more you realize the less you know. So I think that is aptly put, and this Internet of Things big data and artificial intelligence together has the potential to massively reduce the emissions. They themselves don't reduce the emissions, but they give you insights that will help you reduce the emissions. And some of the other technology besides AI, besides machine learning and all, there is hull grooming, to protect ships from accumulating biofouling. There are robots available that clean the hull while the ship is still in the water. And we can use shore power. Shore power is gaining traction across the ports. And it, according to a study, it has potential to save up to 8% of carbon emissions that is happening at ports. And then there are other options like for decarbonization, people are going for scrubber retrofitting. There are other, the options which are on the table include AI related, and there are options which, with the use of technology, they can be further, they can accentuate the benefit that you can derive from it. Now, wind-assisted propulsion is one of them. Wind-assisted propulsion, it doesn't change the way currently shipping is done or the fuel, current fuel is burned, but what it does, it assists in propelling the ship through the use of wind. Wind rotor propellers are used, and this has the potential to reduce the fuel cost by 5 to 20%. Similar is the case with biofouling, removal of biofouling that we talked about. But what are the challenges that the industry is facing? Now, this is very important because one of the most important thing is cost. Adoption of technology requires cost, but we are not talking about going for wholesale change of technology. We are not going to talk about change of engines completely, but we are talking of incremental gains. And this is one area where I think industry needs to come forward and learn more about it. This is something I think we have a feeling that industry is not really they're not conversant with the available technologies, what potential benefits they can derive. And there is also this inhibition about what happens if during the transition, there are disruptions, if there are disruption in operations. So they're worried about these things. Now, in talking about some of the solutions, what we can do, I think there are 3-step process. Embrace, foster, and invest. Embracing the technology is, it begins with this conviction that, okay, technology is there to help, and let us figure out how it can help. You don't have to go for wholesale changes. Look at the pilot projects. Go small. Take a small investment, take some pilot projects, and see how efficiency gains are achieved. Is it giving you a positive ROI? Once that is done, there are so many options you can get, take it forward step by step. And then foster, I think it is also about fostering a culture of technology adoption within your team, within the senior leadership, because that is where it trickles down the line. And once everyone is embracing this change, things will happen automatically. And investment in skill building, partnership to bridge the expertise gap is very important. As ship operators or participants in the maritime industry, you don't need to be technocrats. You just need to partner with the right guys. You need to find what are the solutions that are available on the table, and then embrace them. And as I said, that not every solution will be required for everyone. There will be tailor-made solutions for your tailor-made problems. But the overall gist of this strategic or sustainable asset management is that there are technologies available which can be used to gain incremental benefits from this asset management practice. And with that, I'll end my presentation. Thank you so much.